don't know why it's not showing the chat. Hi, Junker. There we go. Finally got the chat up. I'm just tying some flies for my box. I'm low on a bunch of stuff, and the last time I tried to tie live, it wouldn't work. I don't know what was wrong. I had to go back and update a whole bunch of stuff. What I'm tying up here is some little purple leeches. They're a super effective fly for me this time of the year. Got a little too much dubbing there for one pinch. I'm not sure it's showing the chat on my phone. I tried to pull up the live on my iPad, and it's not even showing that I'm live. But I'll show. That's all there is to this little leech, and it's extremely effective. I catch a pile of fish on it. I'm actually going to shorten this up, I think, a little. Maybe about like that. Try to pull this up on my iPad again. Huh, I don't know, it's not showing it. I don't know. Gonna switch to a different tinsel for this one. And I'm not tying these super pretty, fancy or nothing. I'm tying these to go in my box to fish. And they don't have to be that fancy. This is just pine squirrel zonkers, micros. 3.5 millimeter bead and a number 10 jig hook. That's all there is to it. I've been catching a lot of fish on this fly lately. You can also tie them in olive. Olive works real well also, but For some reason, they've really been liking this purple lately. And it is one of my favorite colors too. For trout, anyways. You can use purple thread if you have it. I don't have any. I'm out. And I've been looking for some for a long time and just can't seem to find any anywhere. And this is just a holographic tinsel. I use pearl a lot of times. But I lost my last couple of these leeches the last time I was out. And I need some really bad. So I'm just kind of whipping these out. The fish don't care if they're pretty or not. You can put UV resin over this tinsel also. It does make it a little more durable. It also kind of thickens it up a little, makes it stand out a little more, but I'm not going to take the time to do that today. I just need some flies for the box. And this is just purple ice dub. All it does is cover up your tie-in area and give just a little bit of flash. I don't see anybody commenting. I hope people aren't commenting and I just can't see them. The only thing I see is Junker said hi. No, honey, I'm on YouTube live. What'd you catch? Ah, Hang on just a second. I'm going to shut the door. Son just came in from soccer practice. And all I'm doing there is parting that hair and cutting it at a 45-degree angle. This is a great fly for stock trout and wild trout. I've caught a lot of both on it. Been catching a lot of wild rainbows on it lately. Starting to think that bead didn't have a hole in it. Oh. Well, if you haven't messed with zonkers before, when you pull them out, the hair's naturally going to want to lay one direction. So that's the direction you want to tie it in. And I'm going to start on the side and tie that in with a loose wrap, and then as you tighten it up, it's going to pull it right up on top, just like that. Get several nice tight wraps on it, and then I'll put my dubbing over top of it to hide it. And then I'm just going to whip finish it off. I don't put any cement on mine. I'll do a couple of either 3 or 4 turn whip finishes. If I really wanted these to look nice, I would color the thread, but I mean, that band is so little, the fish aren't going to see it anyways. Then I'm just going to separate my hair and cut that off at a 45-degree angle. And that's all there is to it. And again, this is just a number 10 standard jig hook. I think this is actually the heavy version, which is fine. It'll help this fly sink a little bit better. And I catch a lot of big fish on this fly too, so I want that heavy hook. Big fish like leeches, even though it's a micro leech. I really just wanted to test my YouTube live and make sure it was working again because it wouldn't work for me the other day. So I've got 4 more hooks laid out here. I'm going to tie those up and that'll probably be all I do. Oh, hey Blue, appreciate it, man. Yeah, Blue, when I tried to go live, well, I don't know. It was before I got this Lyme disease. I was supposed to get on and tie some cicadas that I was going to take to Operation Thornwood. And when I tried to get on, it wouldn't let me. It just kept giving me one error after another. And I updated this and updated that and jumped through all the hoops they wanted me to. And I still couldn't get it working. And I ended up having to update my whole iOS on my phone. So this is the first time I've been live since then. So I just wanted to test it and make sure it was working. But like I say, I've got 4 more hooks laid out here. I'm going to tie these up and then probably jump off. But, it'll take me a few minutes to tie these up. I've been wanting to jump on and test this for like 2 weeks now since I got back. But with this Lyme disease, like every evening when I'd come home from work, I was just sapped. I mean, I just didn't have the energy to do it. I just wanted to go to bed. Awesome, buddy. This is a very simple pattern, and it's one of my favorite trout patterns. And a lot of fish will eat it. Crappie, bluegill, even walleye and stuff will eat it. Walleye are big leech eaters. So there's the finished fly. That's what I'm tying. All it is just some hologram tinsel wrapped around the shank, and that gives a little bit of flash when it flares, and it hides the hook a little bit. And then just it's a purple pine squirrel zonker, and then a little bit of dubbing to hide the tie-in. And you can use a purple bead when you have them. I don't have any right now. Oh man, yeah, I remember that now. That sucks, man. You getting healed up from it? Oh, that's good. I'm feeling a lot better from this Lyme disease too. Man, it had me down hard for a pretty good while, and I'm still getting a lot of weird aches and pains from it and stuff, but the medicine does seem like it's helping, so hopefully I've got another week of medicine left and hopefully it's gone after that. But everything I've read with this Lyme disease says catching it early is the key. And I feel like I caught it pretty early, so I'm hoping it's nothing bad. Hoping it goes away easy and stays away. And one thing you can do on these two, which I do also sometimes, is you can take UV resin and coat this before you tie that zonker in. And it does make it look nicer and it makes that stand out a little bit more, makes it a little bit more durable. But, I'm tying these because I was out of them in my box and I'm just kind of whipping these out fast. I've been catching a lot of fish on these the last few weeks and I've just naturally lost them all. Yeah, I'm just not getting enough of that. Oh man, you're allergic to Tylenol and Advil? If you're allergic to those, you're probably allergic to Aleve also. I think Aleve is in the same family as Advil, maybe. Can't remember. Shoot, they probably couldn't even give you like hydrocodone either. So what do you usually fish for, Blue? Yeah, I hear you, man. Are you home or are you still in the hospital? Oh, that's good. It sucks when you get stuck in a bed. I've been there. Yeah, a shark would be awesome. Speaking of rooster, I really want to catch a rooster fish one of these days. They have the fly fishing film festival that comes through here in the wintertime, and we go see it every year, one of my buddies and I. And they had a lot of videos on rooster fish this year. Kind of made me want to go catch one. They're pretty awesome in the water. They're really vicious. It's a saltwater fish. They're kind of black and well, they're mostly silver, but they got black blotches all over them, and they've got like these long combs that stick up off of their back like a rooster comb. And when they charge your fly, you can see that there's combs on the top of their back, like flapping out of the water as they're coming at your fly. It's pretty awesome. It's kind of like seeing a shark fin, except more of them. I don't know a whole lot about them, just what I saw in those videos. And they were talking a lot about trying to protect them because of the sport fishing. It's not in most places. It's not marked as a sport fish, which means like the commercial fishermen can just catch a lot of them. And if I remember right, it talked about in some countries the commercial fishermen catch them and use them for bait to catch other stuff, which kind of sucks because they were just catching piles of them and throwing them in big coolers and cutting them up for bait, which, you know, that's pretty hard on a population. Hey, wee man, how you doing, buddy? I'm just tying up some purple leeches. I mostly fish these for trout, wild trout and stock trout, but a lot of fish will eat them. The walleye, crappie, bluegill. I would say smallmouth bass would eat them real well too, especially in a bigger version. These are micro leeches for specifically for trout and bluegill. It's a real simple fly. This is just a number 10 jig hook. It's a 3.5 millimeter tungsten bead. You can use purple thread if you got it. I don't have any at the moment. And I'm tying these because I'm out from fishing them a lot the last couple weekends. So I'm not being that picky with them. The fish don't know it's not purple thread. And this is just holographic tinsel. All right, Rooster, this is the last one I'm tying, so I probably will be gone when you come back. But I'm appreciate you stopping in, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. Hopefully that shoulder and stuff starts to feel and back starts to feel better soon. I just wanted to get on and test this live and see if it was going to work because it wouldn't work last time. And I had just a little bit. I fish them a lot on a dry dropper. I mean, you can fish them on a nymph rod, and I have. I've caught a lot of fish Euro nymphing with them. That's why I put the 3.5 millimeter tungsten bead on it, is because I originally did make these for Euro nymphing. And they sink really well. And this is it's a number 10 jig hook, but it's a heavy version. It's a heavy wire, so that adds a little bit of weight. And then with that tungsten bead, and it's a fairly streamlined fly, because really all you got is that little bit of pine squirrel, and when it's wet, it'll flare a little bit, kind of like it is, but it lays back, so it's a pretty sleek fly, and it sinks really well and stuff. So it actually fishes great on a Euro rod. But most of the time when I fish them around here, fishing for these wild fish and stuff, I fish them on a dry dropper. Like here lately, I've been fishing them under my cicada, if I can pick it up. But this here is my cicada fly that you've seen me in some of the shorts and stuff. Or if you look back through my shorts, you'll see it. But I've been fishing it as a dropper under that and catching a lot of fish. I mostly fish vintage stuff right now, bamboo rods and stuff like that. But I do have modern rods, and I do have a Euro rod that I used to fish a lot. I don't fish it so much anymore, but the cicada, thank you, man. I made that pattern myself. Here's a couple pieces I have laid out from where I was tying them. But that's the bodies, and that's called the pronotum. That's the piece that goes on the back like that. I've got most of the stuff out here. I'll tie one after this if you want to see it. But I couldn't find a cicada that I liked as far as commercial ones to buy. They always had something that I liked and something that I didn't. And kind of with this fly, what I did was I took everything that I liked from the different flies and just combined them. And I made my own cutters to cut the foam, and I made a wing burner to burn the wing material. The wing material is sparkle organza, is what it's called, and it's a fabric, but you have to burn the edges on it because if you don't, it'll just unravel like, say, a nylon rope or something. How when you cut a piece of rope, you got to burn the end to keep it from unraveling. So you have to do the same thing with these wings. Thanks, Wee. Alright, well that's the last leech I was going to tie, but if you want to see one of these cicadas, I'll tie one real quick. I've got everything laying right here out still. And since I've been fishing these on a dry dropper, I've been tying them on this hook right here, which has a vertical eye. You know, most hooks, the eye would be turned flat like this, but these are turned vertical. And this is a Kelly Gallup hook. He uses this for some streamers. Like it says right there, Gallup's vertical eye streamer hooks. And the reason I do that is because I like to fish these on dry droppers most of the time, and I don't like tying to the bend of the hook with my dropper line. Seems to me like I miss a lot of fish when I do that. So I'll use these vertical eyes, and then I'll tie my main line coming out the front, going to my fly rod, and then I'll tie my dropper tag to this bottom section underneath of it. So that's why I use these hooks. But here's one of these foam bodies, and I'm just going to cut a slit in the bottom of it. And I've got to put my thread back on my bobbin. Most people I know, when they fish a dry dropper, they just tie to the bend of the hook. But now these hooks here, they are a barbed hook, and sometimes I will pinch those down, especially if I'm fishing for wild fish. But a lot of times I'll just use a barbless hook. I'm actually out of those right now for this style, but a lot of times I'll just fish a barbless hook, and then you can't tie your dropper to it because without the barb, it'll just slide off. If you're going to tie to the bend of the hook, you have to have a barb to keep your tag on there. So when I'm fishing the barbless hooks, I have to tie somewhere further up on it to the eye, or sometimes I'll tie right behind the eye. But this is just 140 denier fluorescent orange thread. I'm going to wrap that back to right about there. Might go just one or two more. Yeah, like that. Didn't quite have it level. And then I've got this body that I put a little slit in it. Got some super glue. This is Gorilla Glue in the, apparently it's plugged up. It's a Gorilla Glue in the gel formula. And I like the gel because if you get thin glue, maybe this one's about empty. Yeah, I think this one's about empty. Oh, there it goes, whole bunch. But if you get thin glue and you put that on like that, it'll just all just run off or run to the bottom. But this gel glue, it stays heaped up on there. But just put glue on there. I didn't quite get that to go down all the way, but it's all right. We're going to tie it down anyways. And then I've got my bobbin set fairly loose where this will come off easy. And then I'm just going to make kind of loose wraps, and I'm going to stack these wraps. And I do about 3, and then I'm going to step forward a little bit, and I'm going to stack 3 more wraps. Then I'll step forward a little more. And I'm just putting a little bit of tension on this, not a whole lot, but you can see it kind of gives it that ribbed look like a cicada has. All right, so that's our body and our segments. And then these are the wings that I've made. And I'm just going to lay this right on top and let it stick out just a little bit back, and I'm sticking it off to the side. I'm going to put 2 wraps over that one, and I'll grab another one here, and I'm going to do the same thing with it, but on the other side, and try to match them up so they're even, kind of like that. I'm going to put 2 wraps on that one. And now you can see I've got these ends sticking forward, and I'm going to trim those off a little bit, but I'm not going to cut them all the way short. I'm going to cut them like that because this stuff is really slick. So if you cut those off right at the top, they're going to pull out. So what I do is I'll cut it like that. And I turn this towards the camera so I can't see it very well. But I'll fold these back, and then I'll tie this pronotum over top of it. So it's actually got that tag folded back. So that tag is doubled back over itself, which keeps those from pulling out. So I got a couple of wraps on that to lock it in. I'm going to trim off that little side. And I'm going to turn it up to me. It doesn't look like I stacked those threads very well on the bottom. That's all right. You can usually manipulate them pretty easy. It looks a little better. And I'm tying this pretty quick to show you. I would slow down just a little bit more if I were going to actually make these and make a bunch of them. But when you turn it up like that, you can just slip your leg right under it. That way you don't have to hold that leg in position the whole time while you're tying it down. And I use 1 black, and somewhere here I've got an orange set. Ah, they're behind the camera. Hey Jack, buddy, how you doing, man? And hey Earth. I got to looking at this floss so much I didn't look at the chat. But I'm going to do the same thing with the orange leg. I'm going to turn it up so my thread's hanging down, and stick this behind the thread, and then just pull it right up on top. And then my thread will hold that in place for me. Then I'll pull this leg around this side and put a wrap over it. This is a really long piece of black. It's like 2 foot long. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Cut these legs in the front. And now we just need a little orange post on top to help this floss stand out better, because you can't really see it. Where it's black, it blends in extremely well on the water. So I've got this orange post material here that I've cut just a few millimeters wide. I think I'm actually gonna put a dab of glue under that. I haven't had any come off lately, but just in case. Alright, so I got a couple wraps on that, and then I don't whip finish these. What I do is I'll just put just a little bit of glue down the thread, and then I'm gonna stack a couple wraps right there. That way they're embedded in that glue, and just cut that off. And you would think that wouldn't last very well, but I have not had one of these come apart yet. And then I'm just gonna cut that little post off so it sticks up. Kind of push it forward, trim these legs off. And you can fish it just like that. And I fish them like this all the time. I catch a pile of fish like that. But if you really want these to go that extra mile and look good, see if I can slide this over a little. You can take a bodkin like this and just go to these corners and punch a hole in each corner. And then I've got some red 50-pound test catfish line right here. And just some red glass beads. See if I can just get 2 of these out without making a huge mess. Well, there's a couple bouncing across the floor. That's all right. But I'm going to take my fishing line here and I'm going to slide one of these eyes up on it. This is a trick that Superfly does all the time, and you've probably seen him do it. So there I've got that bead on here. And I'm just going to melt the end of that a little bit and touch my lighter to it. And now that bead will slide up again that and not come off. So now I cut that eye off, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Put a little bit of glue on the shaft of that. And if I can get it in there. Oh, that one didn't want to go in for some reason. I'll just make another one. Maybe I didn't get that hole punched well enough. Yeah, I think it closed up on me. I usually have these eyes ready and made. Oh, Superfly was live? I didn't know he was live. Alright, see if I can get this one in. There we go. That one actually didn't go all the way up flush. You can see just a little bit of a gap, but it'll be alright. Man, I'm dropping everything. There we go. That one went all the way up. So that's what it should look like, is that one. But then you got some nice red eyes on your cicada. But I catch a lot of fish on this fly. It's a really good fly. Hey, Rooster. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I just finished it up, Rooster. But all we did was, well, I don't know how much you saw the fly before you left, but it's just those bodies that I cut, tied on, then the wings, then legs, the pronotum over top, and the post there. And then we put some little red eyes on it with beads and some catfish line. But that's all I'm going to tie tonight, guys. I've looked at the clock. I thought since there's so many people that came, I thought maybe I'd tie some more. But it's pretty late, and I got to get ready for bed because I got to get up early. But I appreciate you guys coming. Is there any flies you want to see me tie next time, or tie or anything? Tie on the channel. All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and end it. Now that I know this is working, I'll try to schedule something maybe in tie one day later on. Kind of like I was intended to do with those cicadas before. And I don't know, something messed up on my phone. I had to update all kinds of stuff to get it to work, and it took me a pretty good while actually to get it working. And this was just kind of a test to see if it was working. But now that I know it is, I'll try to schedule something maybe. Schedule a few days ahead of time. That way you guys know it's coming. Hey, KC. You got here right as I was ending, man. I'll try to schedule one later on, KC, though. Try to do one later on this week, maybe. Yeah, this I didn't schedule this or anything, KC. I just popped on just to try to test my live because the last time it wouldn't work, and I had to update my iOS and all kinds of crap to get my live working again. And I just jumped on to kind of test it and see if it was going to work. So I didn't schedule it or anything. But now that I know it's working, I'll try to schedule one maybe later this week or something. Yeah, it seems to be working fine, tapeworm. I didn't think the chat was working for a long time because probably the first 20 minutes or something, like nobody said anything. So I couldn't get it to load on my iPad either. But I don't know. Seems like it's working fine now. So all right, everybody, you have a good night, and I'll see what night I can tie later on this week maybe, and I'll schedule a night to tie some stuff. But you guys have a good night and take care.